Hello, everyone. This is Merle Rutledge, the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia. Always remember the name. And of course, I always give it to y'all real because I don't have time to play career politician or weak leadership with nobody. Now, I'm going to touch on to what I was talking about yesterday, but the video was a little bit too dark, so I wanted to make sure people can really see I'm the one saying what's happened with society right now. And I was talking to some old conservatives and more. It's about being spoiled. That's what happens. Everything now is in the palm of your hand. Certain lessons that our ancestors and our grandfathers and parents which taught us, and of course made us law abiding and understand accountability, responsibility, and consequence. Right or wrong, that was always nurtured or nourished in us to make sure we don't make the mistakes that was made from their generations. Of course, you want to see the best out of your kids and to make sure that they have every single option and advantage that you can possibly give them so they can have a more productive life. Now, I watched the interview on Fox News, which disturbed me. And this message isn't just for Black Lives Matter. This is for those in the future that want to burn down things in order to get what they want. Now, as your next governor, I can tell you that ain't going to happen. That type of philosophy, whether you mean it literally or whatever, ain't going to work for Virginia. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, let me bring you back in the day. Okay, and I'm going to bring you back to those adults, especially right now, talking like this. I'm going to bring you back to the time period in which you was a child. And I hope you got this lesson. Now, me being funny, but me being serious. What would happen to you if you walked into your parents' house, you look your mother and father right in the eye, and you tell them, if I don't get what I want, now you are the child and you're talking to your parents. If I don't get what I want from you, I'm going to burn down our house because you didn't give me what I want. Now, I thought about me saying that to my parents. And I said to myself, how would this conversation go? Well, I can tell you a couple of things. I'll probably get an ass whooping. Probably another one from each parent. I'll probably have family members like my aunts and uncles and those adults in the family who didn't hear that same message come to the house and then unload. The reason is, you don't have a temper tantrum and you tell your parents, you know what to say, and they try to reinforce that because they don't want you to make that mistake again. So, like I said, you tell your parents that I'm going to burn down the house if I don't get what I want. See the comparison here? Now, my thing was, do they know right from wrong? Because that's a key thing when people say that they are disadvantaged or they are handicapped. Now, my thing is, you know not to burn down your house, but you go somewhere else and burn down somebody else's house and somebody else's business. Now, you don't take the time to find out who owns that business, what their background or their ethnicity or their gender or whatever. You're burning down something just because you're trying to get what you want. Now, I said this also. Certain things we did in the past, our youth of today don't have to go through. Now, when you go to school and you go to class, now you have a laptop that you can bring with you and bring home. You have a cell phone. If you don't know the answer can be Googled up in a matter of seconds. See, for us back in the day, we didn't have a laptop to go back and forth. We had typewriters and old school computers too heavy to pick up and bring home. Then, at the same time frame, when we got tested and our ability to learn wasn't by our phone or by the computer alone. We had to go to the library. We had to write by hand our papers, not like you can type it up now real quickly, have somebody print it up. When we made a mistake, we either had to white it up or we had to rewrite the whole paper again to make sure it was correct. We didn't have spell check and grammar check and all that. We had exactly what we was taught and used it as it is applied for us to move forward in life. Now you don't have all of that problems. You have what prints out your paper. You make a mistake, you don't have to white it out. All you got to do is hit delete. You don't have to go to the library because your library is right there in the palm of your hand. You don't have to study as hard because the answers pop up directly to you without you having to open up a book. And all of these disadvantages that we had during our time, those are the advantages that have been solved for you during your time. As technology has moved forward and past those times, it has made life more convenient. Now, you don't have to just go home, pull out the books. You can type it up even in your cell phone with the answers there and copy and paste. Everything seems handed to you. I think what has happened in society, we have made things so convenient to the point they believe every single problem we have is supposed to be answered in a matter of minutes, not understanding that all the stuff that it took from back in the day to today, this is where we are at now in society, where they think coronavirus is supposed to be answered tomorrow, but it just got here and people are studying it today. Police reform is supposed to be done by tomorrow, and the problems have escalated over decades and centuries. Oh, bingo. You know, the protests and riots is supposed to be stopped in a day, and it's been inflamed for decades and centuries. The thing is, I think people have gotten to the point where they believe every problem in America is solved by Google. Every problem in America is solved by Facebook. Whatever information that's given to you without you having to do the hard work yourself to make an independent decision, you believe whatever is fed to you without doing your own research, which we had to do back in the day in order to get our answer. When we did math, we didn't have Google to do our math problems. We had to break down the equation, balance it out, and show step by step how we reached that answer. And when we gave a teacher an answer too quick that they thought was suspect, because they felt like somebody gave you the answer, they will confirm whether that happened by having you go up to the board and do the problem yourself for everybody to see. That's the thing people are not realizing because they have gotten so spoiled to convenience. That's the problem with the youth right now. The parents is now trying to blame politicians for everything that's going on. The parents of today are younger and don't understand the lessons that was taught to them, how it needs to apply out there in society for not only rule of law, but to make sure that you have security and safety from a world which you are creating because you lack the knowledge to know what lawlessness is. Lawlessness means that you won't be protected, but you think in your head, I'm getting something accomplished. The rioters and protesters are getting something accomplished by threatening and burning down what they feel they don't like. What we used to call that was a temper tantrum. And when kids had a temper tantrum and other parents saw the kid having a temper tantrum and the parent wasn't doing nothing about it, what did they do? They said that you need to do something about this because it's going to cause you more problems in your home later on in life. What people were saying, oh, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me how to raise my kids. Don't whatever. The thing is, back in the day, those problems didn't have to be addressed by those parents that are trying to advise you. Because back in the day when they grew up, they had plenty of reinforcement for bad behavior because they wanted to make sure their kids did not make the mistakes that they did. When they decided to wild out, when they decided to cause havoc, when they decided to bully somebody or whatever, they had to learn you cannot have a temper tantrum to get what you want. You must earn what you get, not hand it to you. And don't think that you are going to bully the parent, the child, bully the parent into doing whatever they want. That has been a problem for quite some time because parents have felt like they could buy their kids love. They could buy their kids security. They could buy their kids video games. They could buy them having time to ignore the problem and hope it goes away. But the problem gets worse. Now, society, a weak leadership, that's why I call it not strong leadership. Strong leadership doesn't play that game. Weak leadership is now trying to buy or trying to compromise and trying to do everything to appease spoiled, rotten apples, rotten to the core. That's what's going on in society. Sorry, politicians don't talk that way, but parents and real leaders talk that way because they're fed up. They are fed up of those thinking that you are going to tell the parents that you are going to threaten, burn things down, harass, do a temper tantrum in order for you to get what you want. And you know good and well, that ain't how you was raised. And we got adults that have failed to grow up and still having temper tantrums, trying to get what they want by lawlessness. And we have bad parents, bad leaders that are promoting this bad behavior and continuing to spoil. This is what I call the Rat Northam syndrome. Because see, when you give a mouse a cookie, what are they going to want? A glass of milk. What is it after they get the glass of milk? Then they want to take everything that you own that provided for their glass of milk because they have continued to follow the hierarchy of knowing this works. This creates change. Burning buildings creates change. Toppling monuments creates change. Killing police creates change. They are finding out this is the equation to balance out what we get. Killing innocent people, robbing innocent people, raping, murdering innocent. This is the formula for us to balance out that equation on the board of getting what we want. We got to recognize what is spoiled here in America. And this is what has happened in our society today, to the point that the parents are scared to confront their children. Because their children has not been confronted and been growing up, not by parenting and leadership in the household. They've been growing up by not only their peers, but the information, whether good or bad, that's handed to them. Remember the time period when we was growing up and we got in trouble and we tried to blame our friends for it and say, hey, our friends told us that it was okay. And we tried to give that same excuse to good parenting, solid, strong leadership. And they would say, well, just because your friends jump off a bridge doesn't mean you jump off a bridge too. You are my responsibility, and I am not going to have you showing your ass. Then that's what was happening all across America. Showing their ass in public. And what happened after a child showed their ass in public from good parents and strong leadership? What happened once they got back home wasn't that type of negotiation. They didn't get a compromise of saying, hey, if you don't show your ass, I'm going to pay you money. If you don't show your ass, I'm going to give you what you want. As the conversation once they got back home. Nah, that didn't happen. From strong leadership and strong parents. They whooped your ass from one end of the driveway, probably was whooping your ass in the car all the way until you got home. Be damned if you ever said, burn the house down. And I said, the way I know these weak leaders, I don't care if BLM, Antifa, weak politician, crybabies, they all fall in the same little thing if they believe this is the methodology to get things done. This has become the new normal for weak leaders. This ain't going to become the new normal for Merle Rutledge. This ain't going to become the new normal for Virginia. You can have confidence in that. Because I'm not going to play the temper tantrum game. I'm not going to play the spoiled, rotten apple game. Virginia will have that strong leadership and that strong patriot, where if the parents have gone wrong, the leadership of Virginia would be stable enough to know how to hammer it down home. So we not only protect our kids, but give them the best options in life and show them this is not the way you go about business. And it damn sure ain't going to be the way Virginia legislates its policies. We will have people acting like adults at the adult table, doing exactly what's best for Virginia without the intimidation of the mob, but doing what's right. And that's exactly what we must do here in Virginia. Doing what's right. What is justice? Not being intimidated by those who never understood the sacrifices or understood the history about how we got to this point. Because it's gotten too convenient. Y'all conveniently got it while people had to die on the battlefield, while people had to shed blood, sweat, and tears for change. While leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. got more accomplished without burning down America than those who are right now burning down America and feel like this is the new way to get it accomplished. That's why they barely could cite Dr. King. And I do feel sorry for the stupid leaders that are out there that are weak. And we got plenty right now in the governor's race. And like I said, if they all was on stage, I would say all these career politicians and those who retired that's trying to come back are the reasons why America is in this position right now, because they was the scared leadership that they had to follow. They allowed them to be spoiled. They allowed them to make things so convenient. And they allowed them to think this was the way to get things done. Nah, not under Rutledge, not under me. And that's because I know those lessons from history. I know those lessons myself personally. I know I didn't get anything accomplished having a temper tantrum. I got things accomplished by having knowledge and awareness to know what was right and wrong and what was in the best interest of Virginia. That's lessons that they ain't learning, that are doing the problems and the mess up today. Because they feel like now they can bully the parents. Now they can bully their elders, where their elders and parents was taking charge of the household and instilling leadership for a responsible, law-abiding citizen when they was in their house to walk out their house, understanding the responsibility, the accountability, and of course the consequence of their decision, because they lived that from the home before they walked out the door. That's what's going on. People are making it all complicated when realistically it starts at the home. And what has happened in the home has spilled out all on the streets all over America. That's what people are saying. And now people are too old to have that fight with these young, strong, spoiled, rotten apples that has only been built and molded and groomed for this type of response. And they're seeing that they are getting answers by this. That's why you're seeing people on TV talking boldly about burning things down unless they get what they want. And this is an adult talking like this. Adult. Not a child, adult. Because as a child, you can straighten this out. This was a situation as a child, they learned this was the method or the way to get things done. That's what's wrong with America. It's spoiled by this type of situation. So I understand where people say, hey, nobody heard us when we wasn't doing anything like this. Nobody heard us. But did nobody hear you when you was at home? Did your parents not hear you and teach you the right lessons while you was at home? Problem is the parents was encouraging this. And they just let it out of control. And they found others who didn't get good, solid parenting. And they all joined forces. And then from there, we have this expanded problem of weak leadership. They can recognize and smell a weak leader because they the ones who are already on their knees kissing their feet. Not Merle Rutledge. That ain't going to happen with me. And you don't have to sit on your knees to kiss their feet. All you got to do is make sure you govern by exactly their method of terrorism. That's still kissing their feet. That's still doing what you as a leader should know better. And we have these weak milkshake, rhino, liberal, whatever, Democrat, Republican, whatever it may be, weak leadership. And people keep voting for this crap and wondering why they still have their cities being burned. Can you tell me? It ain't hard to figure out. If you handle this major issue wrong with weak leadership, then of course they have learned this is the way to deal with it. So that's why you start seeing the difference between the real strong patriots and those who we see are screwing over America. That's why you see these career politicians and the rest of them, all they are doing is jumping on different ships wherever the issue decides to benefit them politically. They ain't thinking about what's best in Virginia. They thinking about what's best in their pockets. What's best to keep me elected, not keep me leading. You don't have to be elected to be a leader. You are a leader based off of who you are in character, not by your color of your skin, not by playing identity politics, but being not only a leader, but a parent to a youth that will lead this generation in the future. Do you want that type of philosophy leading the future for your kids to live in? Through lawlessness, without no respect for the rule of law, but understand crime creates the law. That's what my campaign is all about, making sure that doesn't happen. And strong leaders know that's what's going on. That's why when Trump talks tough, when other leaders talk tough, and people get a little alarmed because they're like, you shouldn't say that. You know, you may inflame them. You may make them go out of control even worse. The thing is, they wasn't brought up in a time where a temper tantrum got people what they wanted. People who wanted things done knew how to have peaceful protests. They had a plan put together of what they wanted, and they created change without firing the bullet, not burning down the building, not doing none of that crap. All of that crap wasn't even accepted, even with the greatest leaders of our time. Where's the leadership? This is what Virginia wants to be Minnesota, Seattle. Yeah, you go ahead and vote for these cowards. That's what it's going to become. They can't even go into a part of town and respond to rapes, murders, and more because they allow the temper tantrums to take over, and they don't have any understanding of why you have police, why you have law and order. What is happening, though, victims in those areas are crying out for leadership, and leadership is scared of the mob. Get what I'm saying? The leadership is scared to be the parents to deal with the kids that they long ignored. The parents are the reason why these kids have became to this point spoiled rotten to the core, because the leadership was lacking in their household, and they found out this is the way for us to create public policy. And guess what? They ain't asking for a public policy position. They're asking for power, which is exactly designed to make sure they get away with whatever they want. That's exactly what a criminal wants. We are giving up law and order for prison theology. That's the problem. And people are ignoring it. We are governing for inmates. The inmates are now the ones being the leaders of today. And now we have exactly those who are following in their footsteps, not those who are following in Dr. King's footsteps, not those who are following in useless L. Grant's footsteps, Robert E. Lee, Arthur Ashe, LeBron James. All these different people who have earned their name in society are no longer being paid attention, because the very ones who are promoting it, the weak leaders, are not telling them you earn what you get. You do not take and use your temper tantrum to get what you want. But they are getting what they want. So now they took the cookie. Now they got the glass of milk. They ain't satisfied. This is what I'm saying. Cancer ain't satisfied with you living. A cancer wants you to die. They'll never be satisfied no matter what you do, what you try to fight it with, what you try to appease it with. It's going to continue to spread. It's going to continue to work throughout your body. That sounds like exactly what the devil does. Yep. And you're seeing exactly what the devil wants. This is what it's all about. A new world order. And I want all you parents that sit at home, when you look at your kids, are you good? Are you cool? Relax and have confidence. Looking at your kids, those who are going to be here hopefully after you are gone. Do you want them to live in a world right now with the current leadership of today? And do you feel if the current leadership can't protect you, they are not going to be able to protect your family? And your family is not going to be ready for murderers, rapists, and lawlessness that comes with your cowardice. See, that's the thing. I want people to pay attention, and that's what I'm going to be running off all this campaign long. Because when I look at my kids, and when I look at what the world has become to this day, I am scared to die because I know that ain't the world that was meant to be built for them. That ain't what our forefathers and our ancestors and those who really fought for change and put their last measure of devotion. That ain't what they brought them here for. They brought them here for opportunity and the pursuit of happiness. What happiness are you going to have knowing that murderers, monsters, criminals, rapists, and pedophiles are the ones governing what's left behind? How secure or stable do you think all that you work for to pass down to your kids will more than likely no longer be able to be passed down to your kids, but it's being taken for criminals, rioters, murderers, and rapists that now own exactly what you was hoping to pass down, because they are the ones who now lead. They lead by taking. They don't lead by earning. That's what we was taught back in that time. So that's how I'm going to lead Virginia. I'm going to lead Virginia by letting you know, black, white, Hispanic, no matter who you are, I want you to take pride and honor and a matter of duty to earn what you have, so you know how hard it was for you to work for it. You wouldn't want somebody else to have it any easier because they don't understand what it means for you to build your own self-wealth, your own self-independence, your own story that brought you from the bottom all the way up. We want that being taught so they know the understanding of hard work. They know the understanding of what it means to earn. And to know they are satisfied knowing that they tell their children and their ancestors, this is what I went through to get here. It means exactly what most people take pride in. They don't remember the easy victories. They remember the struggle. They remember the obstacles, the trials and tribulations to accomplish a goal that they said was long denied. That's why I call men and women to honor. When they didn't give up, when other people told them to give up. And what happened at the end, once they accomplished their goal, they saw respect earned, not given. And that's why people begin to change in their mind and mentality of who people are, because they know that person earned their way of life. And we will make sure that is the motto, because we ain't going to deal with the spoiled temper tantrums. That's for the kids and the children as they grow up, play, and learn accountability, responsibility, and consequence. We are bringing back Virginia for the better good. We see the examples of what happens when we allow for the other side to take over and we ignore all of this mischief, and we have ignored it for far too long in our home. That's because as parents, we should have been fighting for them. We should have been fighting for them when they was young. Discipline is still fighting for them. Showing them the right way to get things done. It's still fighting for them. recognizing wrong and being an adult, standing up as an adult, just like patriots have done for their families all throughout time, fighting for their family, fighting for a better tomorrow for what they see as wrong today. That's what we need here in America. More patriots being in charge and having the mentorship and the strong leadership so kids believe in them, not believe in those who destroy. That's why we have a God that's good all the time, and we have a devil. And what's happening is they are going to the devil because those who claim to be men or women of God and faith are just as scared as these leaders because they lost it. I want to build up the faith in America, the faith in God, but at the same time frame to let them know that there is still strong leaders and soldiers of God that's still out there that's uncompromising. Those who still believe in the rule of law. Those who still believe we can make change through nonviolence and civil disobedience, not through violence and disobedience by temper tantrum. This is Merle Rutledge, the real leader, and the next governor of Virginia, earning every single thing. I let those politicians with their newspaper clippings lead by newspaper. I lead by face-to-face confrontation. That's true leadership. Because if you can't meet the people that you govern face-to-face, you can't tell them what it means to lead and earn compared to destroy and get things handed to you face-to-face. That's exactly what their parents were doing to the ones who's causing the problems, because they was ignoring face-to-face, ignoring confrontation, ignoring the problem, ignoring the wrong here in America. You are no better than a bad parent. That's the truth. So this is the 2021 governor of Virginia candidate running for the Republican nomination. My name is Merle Rutledge. Now you should see what leadership means. And I hope when you see those career politicians and those who are already elected, know this one thing. They was all in positions of power while all of this went on. You have a good weekend. And you have yourself a better tomorrow for fighting for our kids today. That's why you had no choice but to elect Merle Rutledge as your next governor of Virginia, being a strong leadership of tomorrow.